Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches here with my Flosstube update number 422, 422. Today is January 31st, 2026. And so tomorrow starts my new WIPGO month, new calendar month. February is a short month, only 28 days, because this is not a leap year. I don't know, 28 days. I guess. I don't know. I haven't even looked at my calendar. This is not a leap year, right? I shall check real quick. Yeah, only 28 days in February. So, technically, it's a little shorter, but I think in reality, it really won't make that much difference. Sorry, dust on my glasses. Stitching wise. But anyway, so the new WIPGO numbers have come out. They came out some time ago. And I I thought I had talked about them last week, but I guess I didn't. So that's a very good thing because I have them all out here. Um, I do have a couple of finishes of one big and one little finish, I guess, um, and some other things. Yeah. So anyway, uh, it's the end of the month, beginning of the month situation. This is my New Mexico shirt, my old shirt. I got this a long time ago when I used to live in Little Rock, and I would drive home for Christmas every year. And there's a couple of uh, sort of gas station tourist stop kind of places on the interstate. I guess in New Mexico, but before you get to Albuquerque. And one of them is Klein's Corners, which is famously like a an intersection where one of the state highways hits the interstate, and I think if you take one of that highway, south of the freeway, south of I-40, you get into some of the local. I think that's how you get down to Roswell and that sort of thing. But anyway, so Klein's Corners is a big, gas station, last stop tourist place, because on especially, well, anywhere in New Mexico really, you get off the freeway and it's very much um, open lands, some ranch areas, some nowhere areas, tiny towns that were there once upon a time. It's a lot of empty space. But anyway, so Klein's Corners is one of those, sort of like I said, intersection of where I think the highway down to Roswell hits I-40 like that. But then there's also a place called the Flying J, which is a gas station, truck stop, tourist stop kind of place along the interstate. And I think one year on the way back, it must have been on the way back to Little Rock because it was during the day. Um, and I stopped at the Flying J. I think I had to go to the bathroom or something like that. And they had these racks of tourist stuff that you could buy, and one of them was this New Mexico T-shirt. And I realized at the time that when I walked past them, I thought, I don't have anything at the time. I don't have anything that says New Mexico on it. Um, and so I bought this T-shirt at that time. So it's very faded, and it's got little cat holes in it. Almost all my T-shirts have holes in them where a cat claw has poked into them, and so it's kind of, yeah. But anyway, so I had this T-shirt for a long time. The shirt I wore last week, a blue T-shirt with a Chihuahua on it, a little like Taco Bell kind of Chihuahua dog on it, and the New Mexico logo on there. My brother gave it to me several years ago, and so that's my other New Mexico. So I think those are the only New Mexico t-shirts that I have. But so yeah, that's where I'm from. So I thought I would wear this one. These are the colors of the New Mexico flag, right? This shade of yellow and the red Zia symbol. Anyway, that was free. So I have a couple of finishes. One big one and one little one, as I think I said already. And then my February plans. Um, yeah, I thought I had showed them last week, but I guess I just did a real quick review of my video from last week, and I didn't show it. So you get a treat this week. You get to see all of my February plans. But first of all, I wanted to show this little shelf sitter guy that I bought at Hobby Lobby. You know, he sits on the shelf, his little legs dangle down, and I just now I had picked him up off the shelf, and I just now kind of unwrapped him from the paper he was wrapped in when I bought him, and I realized that this was the only one that had a book. The other ones had something else that the duck had in his hands here. But so I got this one because it had that he was reading a little book, and I realized his little bill is chipped. But that's okay because the ducks in the wild have imperfect bills all the time. When I lived in Little Rock, my apartment building was right across the street from a park, MacArthur Park, as it's called. And there were a couple things in there. There was the Museum of Fine Arts or something. Anyway, there was a museum there. That was where I voted every year. And then there was further down. There was MacArthur, I don't know if it's where he lived when he was a child or something like that. But it's it's a big, and it's been turned into a museum or something like that. And there's a pond, and in the pond, and I think in the pond. Anyway, there's a bunch of ducks that hang out there. Ducks and at least one mean goose that would hang out there, and so you'd see ducks all the time, around there. As my friend called them, trash ducks, because they're like black and white, sort of, I don't know what you call it, urban ducks, maybe. Not the kind of ducks that people go out and go duck hunting for. When they go duck hunting, they get the mallards and the fancy ducks, I guess. And these ducks at the pond were like trash ducks, that they called them. Anyway, but there was always a bunch of little ducklings running around out there. So this is my little duck. And I had a friend actually who came across a baby duck on his own somewhere. I guess he'd been left behind or something, but she called him Doodle, and he lived. She raised him for a while, and then after a while released him into the wild. Anyway, so maybe I'll call him Doodle. Maybe I'll call him Doodle. He's reading a book. Anyway, I saw him there, and I thought, that's really cute. And then I also, this was at Hobby Lobby, I think I said that I bought these. They also had this little sign, and I like that, Worthy is the Lamb. There's, Handel's Messiah. I used to play the Messiah every December. The Choral Society in Arkansas, in Little Rock, did a performance of Messiah every Christmas. And they had, different of the numbers in the Messiah. There's like, I don't know, there's a Christmas portion and an Easter portion typically, as how they're referred to. And so they would choose, various numbers from the whole oratorio to perform every year. And anyway, one of my favorite ones is toward the end. One of the last piece in the oratorio is "Worthy is the Lamb." That I really like. Anyway, that's so when I saw that, I thought, I really want that. I like that. So anyway, those were just bonuses for that I got recently. Because I went to Hobby Lobby because I can never pass up a chance to go to Hobby Lobby, and one of the reasons I'll talk about later is that is for one of my February new starts. And I'll get to that in a second. First, though, I do want to talk about my finishes. So I talked last week about the Raccoon, one of the Cottage Garden Samplings Year in the Woods series. and this one was from 2022. I started them, I want to say, in 23. I started working on this series, the series of 12, because I think, oh, I can't think of her name now. She had a channel. I don't think she has, she may have changed it. My video got stuck there for a while, sorry. She may have changed the name of her channel. Sorry, my video keeps getting stuck. I don't know if it's an internet issue or whatever, but anyway. But my friend, my friend, this young lady I used to follow on YouTube, she was in Virginia, I think, and I know that at one point she and her husband did a lot of what's called magnet fishing. You know, finding magnetic things in the river or whatever. You know. Anyway, but she had done several Flosstube videos, and in one of them she had featured the jackrabbit, which is the number 3 of this series, and it was so cute, so beautiful. I still have that. I'm still working on it. But that's what got me started on this series, and I got all of them. And so anyway, this is number 4. Last week I was almost done with it. I was working on the flowers. I had finished the raccoon and I was working on the flowers and stuff. And so I went ahead and did a couple of extra days on it just to finish it. And I did. So I'm sorry I haven't ironed. I don't iron anything. I haven't ironed anything because these are still being worked on. So this is the number 3. And I should have ironed this so you could see this corner better, because this is where I started. And I did put in this little, I don't know if you can see it, this one little crisscross thingy. And I did the white, the center of this one and that one. So this is where I started. And then I did the raccoon. So I finished the raccoon. Yay. Except I noticed that, like, over here, by his eye on one of these things, it looked like I just did a half stitch, but I couldn't quite tell. But you can't see it, you know. It's just like one little, I can't even find it. It's one little stitch by his eyes somewhere here. But anyway, so I finished him, and then I just worked on all those little flowers and everything until I finished them. I did make, uh-oh, did I leave one out? No, no, you just can't see it very well on the screen here. Yeah, but so I did make a mistake. I think it's over here. You can't see it because I, fudged it around and fixed it. But yeah, that little flower keeps fading out. But I like left one row off or something. I did one row too soon. Did these little side fronds, like they should have been up one. I should have done another row, another stitch before I did that, and I hadn't. And so when I went to put this in, I thought, I was going down there and there was a gap there, and so I just had to put a couple green stitches in there to close that gap. But so yeah, so that's all finished. That's number of this 4 of this series. So I've got 4 of them done now. 1 and 2, the fox and the swans. That's number 1 and number 2. This one is number 4, and then the woodpecker that I did earlier this month, and that's number 8, I think, of this series. So yeah. So I have the ferret and the bear still to work on, and all the rest of them. But so like I said, that's finished. And actually, I was looking at, I'm trying not to spend too much money Nashville is coming up, and you know all the previews and stuff are coming out now. And there was at least one, maybe two from the Blue Flower, because I love everything they do at the Blue Flower. So there were one or two of Jeannine McGowan's new patterns that she's releasing for Nashville that I thought I really want that, but I'm trying to hold off until the last minute, you know, where I see them all before I make a decision about the money I want to spend. Sorry, but I think I know that they're doing, you know, the Stitch the Rainbow series. They're doing 4 colors from Cottage Garden Threads, and I'm thinking about, you know, looking at the patterns that are, you know, being designed for that palette. I forget what the Blue Flowers. I think they showed it. I'm not sure. But anyway, so like I said, I'm thinking about that thread pack. It's a four color thread pack, and like I said, I want to see what other designs are being made for those colors. But so yeah, that's what I'm one of the things I'm considering, and the other thing I'm considering is the second Year in the Woods series. There's, I want to say, at least 5 of the new patterns out for that series, 5 or 6, I guess, and they're like $10 a piece, so that's $50 or $60. Like, I don't know, you know, because I've been putting off buying them because I'm still in the middle of this first series, so we'll see. But you know, yeah, now would be a nice time to like, I just get them all, but you know, I can always order them at any point. Anyway, my next finish is one of my my new starts for this month, and this was the title isn't on this cover photo that came with the package, but they're named owls because when you open it up and you get the instructions out, it says owls on the top. And I don't know if I had said before, but the designer is Marianne Savage for Design Works. So anyway, this was the little kit. And so it came with, of course, the threads and the Ada and needle and this little hoop. And anyway, so this is the stitching. I finished it. I started it and finished it in a few days. Yeah. So there's that. And it came with this hoop and to finish it in. And I'm not positive that I want to do it. I could easily, but in a way it doesn't like sit well in this. I don't know. I haven't decided. But like the kit, you know, in the instructions, it talks about this piece of cardboard that came with the kit, and you're supposed to, like, you know, trace 2 little circles on it to use as the backing for this, like one inside the back, and you then like you know, stitch around the fabric to gather it up, and then you use the other circle as like part of the backing, you know, or like, you know, I have fabric, I could back it with fabric, or use both, right? Use the cardboard on the inside, and then, you know, you stitch around to gather the fabric in a circle, and use, you know, one of these and the fabric to back it. You know, but it also says, interestingly enough, it says, you know, use the enclosed ribbon, you know, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, there wasn't any enclosed ribbon. There wasn't any ribbon in this kit, so I don't know. But anyway, so, you know, you could, you know, do a circle and make it, you know, put a little hanger on it and hang it on the wall, or I could finish it like on a piece of wood, or, you know, like a little wood backing kind of thing. I haven't decided yet, so, you know, But there's that. So I finished that on this Thursday. Um, so of all my January projects, WIPGO projects, I finished the Woodpecker, which is my whatever that. The numbers for January were number 2 and number 7, and so the Woodpecker was the whip for number 7, and the Raccoon was the whip for number 2. So they're both finished. And then the two new starts, the owls were for the number 2, and the number 7 was Sea Life, this other little kit that I bought. And so let me move this stuff out of the way. Well, I thought it was right here. Where did I put it? That was under this pile, sorry. So it was another little kit that I bought at Hobby Lobby. And this is also by Marianne Savage for Design Works. So this is Sea Life. And so I didn't start this till Thursday. Today is Saturday, yeah. And this kit also came with a hoop to finish it in. And this is just a little simple wooden hoop. And if I do finish it in this hoop, and I have not decided, I'll probably try to paint this just because, it's a boring hoop. But it also doesn't grip really well because it's just a regular wooden hoop. Anyway, but I did start the Sea Life, and I have not backstitched anything, so it's a little hard to see. Let me get this behind it just so that there's not any light there. But I just a little needle minder that from my friend. I can see her name in my head, but I can't say it. Begins with an S. Her channel used to be called O2B Purple, I think. Now I can't see her name. Anyway, she sent me this little kitty cat needle minder thing some time ago. Anyway, so there's an octopus and a jellyfish and a school of fish here. You can't see them very well in this picture, but there's a couple of seahorses, and there's a little starfish here and another fish and some other fish down here. And so, of course, they're not all finished and they're not backstitched, so they're a little hard to make out. I did dye this fabric myself, used a kind of an aquamarine color, I think is the color that I used. So it's kind of bluish, purplish. And again, it's hard to see anything because they're not backstitched yet. But anyway, so I've been working on that. And I'm going to work on it the rest of the day today and see if I can get close to finishing it. If not, So there's not a whole lot left to do. There's a lobster over here, and some more fish like this up here, and a few other things. But yeah. So there's not a lot of stitches. They're just just a handful of stitches, and there's some other fish and things. But it's just a little bit fiddly, just because there's a lot of little fiddly things to do. But anyway, so that's my other new start for January, and technically, because I don't have any goals for my my new starts, because I don't have goals on them, then technically it's done. Whether I finish it or not, it's finished for the month. And I always have, at any point, I to finish it. And because if I don't finish it, it goes on my whips, for next year. But anyway. And I think I talked about, I don't know if I talked about it last week, but I was working on that Starry Night Biscornu maybe 2 weeks ago. I talked about that I had called it a finish, but it wasn't finished because I finished all the regular stitching, but not the border. So I did, I did do the border for the front half, and I still have to do the border for the back half. So that's still kind of, floating out there on my. It's not officially on any of my on my WIPGO board or whatever, but it's there in my stitching bag to be finished whenever I have the downtime or whatever to do it. But anyway, so for the month of February, the calls were number 5 and number 22. Last night we were filming our Three Sisters video, our Sticks and Strings video, and my sister Eve, who's also doing WIPGO, she said something about the WIPGO numbers being number 5 and number 23, and I was like, wait, because I had already prepped in my bag like, oh yes, I'm going to work at number 5 and number 22, and so when she said 23, I was like, wait a minute, because I could have sworn she had, we had talked about that there were 5 and 22. And so she was like, yeah, it's 22, 23, I don't know, something like that. So like, and so yeah, she did check it later. She goes, yeah, it's number 22, whatever. Because I think actually the number she had pulled was number 22, her 22. And she just misspoke when we did the video. But it's kind of like, I was like, wait a minute, wait. But yeah, it's 22. Sorry, I'm drinking a lot in my mouth. But anyway, so my number 5 is the Barn Owl, which is another one of these Cottage Garden Samplings Year in the Woods patterns. So this is number 8, the Barn Owl. And I did like the sort of what do you call lace work, the background of his body and part of his face and stuff like that. And I did the branches. I think I talked about this. I want to say I talked about it in not last week, but the week before in January. I don't know. No, she would just got the numbers out on the 25th. I don't know. I could have sworn I talked about it last week, but I just looked at my video from last week and it didn't look like I mentioned it, so I don't know. But anyway, so this is the Barn Owl. And so, like I said, I did a lot of the branches here, at least looks like the dark part of the branches at least. Except maybe down here, I need to do some more. Yeah. And then like I said, I did the sort of, framework of his feathers here. And so I just have to do all the individual feathers that go in there. And then I did the outline kind of his neck, but not the fill in. And it's mostly white, but there's some there's some like gray lines or whatever, and see these little dots are in there. They're they're surrounded by diamonds of this white color. And then I did like half its face, but not the other half. So and there's some gray that goes under the beak. Yeah. So there's a lot to do on that owl because it's very complicated. But the barn is finished. There's some more of these leaves on the branches and some more of the branches. So maybe I can finish it. It's, my goal is 7 days on this. And so we'll see. So, yeah. So, like I said, a lot of the branches are, branches are done. There's like leaves and stuff, and the branches are a few different colors. So there's some more colors, that are involved with those branches. But yeah, so that's my number 8. I mean, the number 8 of the series. It's my number 5 of my WIPGO charts, number 5. So that's that one. The goal is 7 days. And this was on the same piece of cloth that the woodpecker's on. So there's the woodpecker's finished. The Barn Owl is almost finished, and the bald eagle is also on this. And actually, this is the one that I got the bald eagle and the Barn Owl mixed up. It should have been the other way. The Barn Owl should be in the middle right here, because this is number 9, and this is number 8, and this is number 7. So these two got switched. when I started them, I started this one in the wrong place. But anyway, so yeah, so it's coming along. And then I have 10, 11, and 12 of that series. Number 10 is a little brown bat, has a long way to go. Number 12, I think, is mostly finished, but not quite finished. Yeah, so that's why I'm a little hesitant to buy the next series of the second year in the woods series that they're doing, because it's a lot of stitching is but I still have a lot to go on the first series, so I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, my number 22 whip is by the Blue Flower, and it is the Winterwood Biscornu. This is the one where I very famously put in crooked legs on the cardinal, on one of the cardinals, because I had done these little branches, these little corner branches. I'd done one of them wrong, and so I had to fudge the legs of the cardinal. So yeah, he's supposed to have straight legs, and he has crooked legs to make him fit right here. I bent his legs because they were supposed to go straight out, and they wouldn't have hit right because I put this branch, it was like 1 or 2 stitches too high this way. So I had to kind of, fudge around and, yeah. So I stitched a little bit in this corner to make that cardinal fit, because I was doing this framework was when I realized that the cardinal, that this was in the wrong place. And I was not going to redo this because I had already done the whole branch. And I was not going to redo it, so I just thought, okay, well, I can fudge the branch. But then, I was like putting this branch in and the cardinal, and I realized his legs were not going to hit right. But anyway, so I I bent his legs. And then this is an owl that goes this way. Yeah. So anyway, this will be my other whip, my other WIPGO whip, and I haven't even begun the backside of this Biscornu. So it's a lot of stitching, but I'm hoping that, well, the animals will probably go a little slower, just because there's just a lot of stitching involved with making those animals. But anyway, so that's my number 22. The new starts I have for number 5 and number 22 are a little bit different. One of them is I'm doing diamond painting. As I think I said this before, or maybe I maybe not on this video, on my personal videos, but I put these things on these non-cross stitch projects on my WIPGO board, because I recognized that was the only way I was going to make myself start them. A couple of crochet projects, one punch needle project, and a couple of diamond painting projects. And I recognized that if I did not put them on my WIPGO board, I would just keep putting them off, And so so I did. So they're in the first, I don't know, 5 or 6 WIPGO numbers. My new starts are all non-cross stitch projects, and so the number 5 is this this elephant diamond painting. I had not taken it out of the kit yet before, so I had showed like these tiny little pictures. But so I took it out of the kit last night to look at it, and so this is I'm calling them elephant number 1 and elephant number 2 because my sister-in-law Rachel gave me these. She gave me one for my birthday and one for this Christmas, or I think something like that. Anyway, so yeah, so this is the one I'm going to start. This is my number 5 new start, and so I've been looking at it, and yeah. So, and you know, like reading the instructions and all that. And I may like maybe look at some diamond painting tutorial things just because I want to see what, you know, some people's suggestions and tips might be for that. If you have any, feel free to put them in the comments about, you know. But then my other new start for February is this Quilted Poinsettia pattern from Heartstring Samplery by Beth Twist. And this is just a little, like a little ornament pattern. It's 49 by 49, so it's very small. So this is from Christmas for Jingle Ball. It was a freebie from Beth Twist at the Jingle Ball this past December. So, and I'm hoping since it's so small that I can knock it out, you know, in a couple of days. Um, I haven't decided on the fabric. On here, it's done in white on white, and those colors show it very nicely on white. Um, and then there's a little pom pom trim around it, and I think it looks like a lace or something that she like a lace trim that she used for. It's not rickrack. It's like a lace thing that she used for the little hanger on there. So I don't know how I'm gonna finish it. Probably as an ornament, but probably not on white fabric like that. I have all those fabrics that Vicky sent. Our follower Vicky Campbell sent my sisters and I. She sent a package with a bunch of fabric grab bags from Bestitch Me, which are smaller pieces, you know, but it looks like the one a couple of the bags were 32 count fabrics, and the other was Ada fabrics, and so my sister Eve and I divvied up the fabrics between us, what we were likely to stitch on, what we wanted to stitch on. Um, and so I might find something. I haven't even looked for what's an appropriate color for that. But I think there's a couple of lighter background fabrics that I could use, might be able to use for that poinsettia. And if not, you know, I've got a bunch of white fabric and I've got a bunch of dyed fabrics and whatever. So I'll find something to do it on. Um, but anyway, so I want to move these over here so I don't have a crap-a-lanch over here. Um, but so, um, sorry. So those are my numbers for February. And I apologize if I showed them before because I don't know. It seems like I know that like I talk about the same things on my on our sticks and strings video that I talk about here very often, just in more detail here than on there on that video. And so it's like in my brain. That's why I had to watch last week's Flosstube thing. It's like, did I talk about these February numbers? And I don't know if they had come out at that time yet. Anyway, I don't know. Um, so that's what I'm planning on doing in February, and I am going to prepare to get started. I'll probably start with the barn owl since that's uh, already going and set up, and I've got the. I think I have the threads handy already, at least some of them. So, you know, that's ready to start very easily. So I think I'm going to work on sea life today as much as possible. Um, sorry. Diet Coke, elixir of the gods. Um, actually, no. Diet Cherry Pepsi is the elixir of the gods. Coke, Diet Coke is, you know, a good second. Anyway, um, but so like I said, I'll probably do work on the little sea creatures and sea life for the rest of the day today, and then I'll be ready to go on the barn owl tomorrow. Um, but I think that's all I wanted to hit on today. Yeah. So anyway, so February I'll be, starting all my new WIPGO things, and um, I talked about the America's 250th anniversary, and I was trying to remember what the phrase was, that it's semi-quincentennial is the official, for the name for the 250th anniversary, semi-quincentennial. So quincentennial is 500 years, semi-quincentennial is half of that, which is 250. And I remember when the bicentennial was a big deal, the 1776 to 1976, and now here we are, 2076. I mean 2026, excuse me. So yeah, 2026. Um, so who'd have thought? For the bicentennial, I was in high school, and our marching band went to Disneyland to march in a parade. I don't know what Disneyland at that time anyway did like every day, but I know that for the bicentennial they're having high school bands, I guess, march there at Disneyland uh, every day or something like that. I don't know. But so we raised money, and I remember we sold these. They were kind of like, I guess they were promoted as bulletin boards, but they were actually like styrofoam, some kind of styrofoam things. Because a friend of mine, I guess, had sold some. We were selling things door to door and stuff like that. Um, and a friend of mine was selling these uh, like I said, they were labeled as like bulletin boards or something like that. But they weren't made out of cork; they were made out of styrofoam. So it was just a big styrofoam shape, of something. I think some were frogs and some were, I don't know what else. But yeah, she said that some lady, she went to deliver it, and this lady wrote, like, this is a ripoff, and she wrote like "Jip" on the back of it with her, like pressed it into the styrofoam with her finger and gave it back to her. I don't know. That's the way I remember the story. But I remember we sold some. They were like plastic tumblers that had like, um, you could get a few different ones. I think this one set had like a smiley face on it. It was like a gold cup with a smiley face, and the others were like, it was six cups in a set, and the one set had two red, two white, and two blue. Uh, in this thing, and they had like a Liberty Bell, stamped, like a metallic, stamp on the side. But so yeah, for the longest time, we had two sets of the smiley face and the Liberty Bell ones at home. I think my parents finally got rid of them or something, but yeah, they were just plastic tumblers. They were good. But anyway, so yeah, we raised money to go to Disneyland, and then the band went, um, and it was kind of a memorable trip. We were supposed to go to Juarez, because we went out to California, and we were supposed to go to Juarez um, one day, and then drive up to Anaheim, to Disneyland. I think we spent the night in Los Angeles, because I know that we spent all day one day in Disneyland. But so the day we were supposed to go to Juarez, we were going to go in the morning, and because we had like, I think, two busloads of people, and then and at the hotel that we were at, um, there was a like a small restaurant, but the whole band couldn't go at the same time to the restaurant, so we went like kind of in shifts, right? But we were supposed to be at the buses by a certain time, and then we would go down to Juarez. And so we all got on the buses, and we went down to, I think we went down to the gates, the crossover gates to go to Juarez, and they did like a head count, and there were like four kids that were missing, and they were all four roommates, and whoever the chaperone was for their group had not like knocked on the door to make sure they were awake, and those kids had overslept and hadn't, I guess they hadn't gone to breakfast because we were all going in shifts. You know, there was not a, you know, you didn't go in a block or whatever. So they had, the chaperones, I guess, had lost track of who had gone and who hadn't gone and who was up and who wasn't up or whatever. And it wasn't until we got to Juarez that they realized that those four kids were not there with the group. And so we didn't go to Juarez. We went back to the hotel and got the kids and went up, you know. Yeah. So, but we did go to Disneyland, and we spent all day from, because like, you know, we went first thing in the morning. We went and you know, had some free time, and then we went on the buses. I mean, we met up at noon, put our uniforms on, did the parade, went back and changed clothes, and then spent the rest of the day there at Disneyland. And I think at one point we went to the San Diego Zoo, so maybe that was after the Juarez trip. We went to the zoo, something like that. Because I know uh, our friend Jan and my sister and I and some other friends, we were looking for the giraffes, and we couldn't find the giraffe enclosure at San Diego at the zoo. So that was kind of a running joke. We couldn't find the giraffes, but so yeah, I think we went to the San Diego Zoo, and then we went to Disneyland. Um, and I think this was the second time I'd gone, because when I was a kid, our family and my cousin's family drove out to Los Angeles, and we went to, I think we went to the zoo, and we went to Disneyland, and we drove through San Francisco. We went to Alcatraz. We took a little ferry trip through the bay to Alcatraz and back, you know, just around Alcatraz, because I don't think at that time, I don't think you could go to the island. And then we went to Oakland, where my uncle's family was up there, and at some point we went to Sequoia Kings National Forest, and then we came back. So you know, it was a big trip. Um, yeah, out to California for the 10 of us. Their family of four and our family of six. You know, all in this. We had a big van in those days, and this was the days. I remember looking it up later. This was that the Zodiac killer was out there in the San Francisco area at the time we were out there. Like, so anyway, that was all my adventures in California. So that was a bicentennial that we went when I was in high school, and now it's a semi-quincentennial this year. Uh, and so I think last week, I was trying to remember the name of the Stitch It with a Housewives pattern that I'm going to be working on, and it's Sam and Liberty. And I don't remember now, like trying to think in my head what the picture was. I don't know if it's a chicken or a bunny, but I think it's a chicken. I don't know that he's holding. Um, but anyway, Liberty. It's Sam and Liberty is the name of the design. And so I don't know when I'm going to start Sam and Liberty or Long May She Wave. Those are my two semi-quincentennial projects for this year, and I don't know when I'm going to start them. Excuse me. They're just on my calendar of ideas for 2028. 2026. What did I say? 2026. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now because I'm making a mess here. So I will see you next week, and we'll see where we are with all these with projects. Hopefully, the barn owl will be. I'll be plugging away on that because I'll have a week, basically, and we'll see where we are. Yeah. So until then. Oh, and you know, like I said, if you want to, I don't have it here with me, but Tiny Saint, you know, that's still available. Let me know. Anyway, I think that's everything. Yeah. So I will see you next Saturday, and until then, thanks. Oh, and you know, if you're a new viewer, I think I have a couple of I don't remember if it was on this channel or if it was on my Facebook or Instagram channels that I had a couple of new followers. But anyway, if you're new to this, if this is your first time watching, I wish you would subscribe. You ring that little bell, you'll get a notification of when I've got a new video, and it's typically every Saturday at some point. um, yeah, so feel free to subscribe and sign up for notifications and all of that. And until then, again, for all of you newcomers and people who've been following for a while, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.